everyone, and welcome back to the Knitting Texan podcast. My name is Rin, also known as Knitting Texan on Ravelry, and I am coming to you from a small town in Texas where I'm from and where I live with my family. So today I actually have a bunch of other crafts, not just knitting and crochet as I normally do. It's been a long time since I've seen you guys as I'm preparing for school, and I've just been spending time with family as I've been preparing for school and not probably going to be able to see them for a while. During the course of the semester, I think I've decided to go to a monthly podcast, just as I am getting into the upper echelon of college, and yeah, gonna spend a lot of time working on that. But I will still be making podcasts. It just looks like it will be monthly, possibly. We'll just have to see how it goes and just play it by ear. So anyways, I have finished lots of things. I have finished objects, and I have finished for now objects, as I like to call it. Let's go ahead and just start with finished objects, like traditional finished objects. And the first one I've got is knitting, and it is this pair of socks where I showed you the first sock here. So I finished the first sock for last podcast, and I actually had to look back on Ravelry and see which socks I finished and what projects I finished since the last podcast because I couldn't remember. But apparently I showed you guys this as a half object last time, and now I have 2 socks. And yeah, this is a Terrific Terrific. I had trouble with this last time. This is Tia's Terrific Threads in the September colorway. I believe it's her simple sock base, and I actually really like this colorway. It's kind of blowing my face out, but it turned out to be a really pretty color. It's kind of blowing out a little bit, but at least you can see this kind of purpley stripe here. And this little mini here is Rumpelstiltskin from Lolo Did It, and it actually turned out to be a perfect match for the green inside the sock. Self-striping sock skein colorway thing. So then next, I ended up knitting a lot of chunky knits this summer, which is really weird because it was a particularly hot summer, so why would I knit chunky stuff? If you like to knit chunky stuff in the summer, then let me know. Or if you are just a fingering weight sock or small projects, let me know what y'all like to knit during the summer. It's my point. I'm a little rusty apparently. But I started knitting chunky socks for some odd reason. I ended up using scraps and other stuff. So anyways, this is the first pair of socks, which I call my blueberry muffin socks because that's what they look like to me. And it just so happened that my mom made blueberry muffins. A couple days I was working on this, and so apparently I had blueberry muffins on the brain. So this is all scraps. This is Lolo Did It in Blue Suede Shoes is the blue, and then I am holding also 2 strands of Gingerbread House by Lofty Loops, I believe. And I don't remember the bases of either of these. I think one's an 85-15 and the other is a 75-25, but I could be wrong. But anyways, you can see speckles of red and green because technically the Lofty Loops skein was a Christmas colorway. And so I held 3 strands together, and then as I got to the end, I ran out of the Lofty Loops. And so then it was just 3 strands of the Blue Suede Shoes. I basically used all of this yarn, like completely all of it. I even tried to figure out how I could make the sock use all of it, even though it's cuffed down. But yeah, I really enjoyed making these. I think it only took me like a day or 2, maybe a day a sock. So each sock took me a day. But yeah, it's 1x1 rib, and I think I used a US sized 8 DPNs for these. And I always basically the same sock recipe, just a little bit shorter because it's chunkier, and so it ends up being fewer rows get you further with this kind of yarn. So yeah, I really enjoyed making these. They were super fast, and they're going to be really great for around Christmas time because I would say this is a pair of Christmas socks, like not traditional red and green, but it's got red and green in there, and it's got muffins, which to me is kind of Christmassy holiday special occasion thing. But anyways, these are for me. These are my size, and they will go in my Christmas box of socks. My second finished object is also a pair of chunky socks, and you actually saw me show this long time ago. I got a skein of yarn from Marina of Strawberry Patches. She sent me skein of 10 ply, which is like a worsted Aran skein of yarn that was 100% superwash merino wool. I didn't know what to do with. I thought I could make a hat. I thought I could make mittens. And then as I was making these and my other chunky pair of socks, I realized that I was basically making my own 10 ply, sort of, kind of. And so I ended up making a very bright and kind of crazy pair of socks out of that skein. I've got a little bit left over, but it pretty much used all of it. And so now I've got a pair of very bright socks for the winter. Will be really nice. And these will just be bed socks. This will just be like on the couch lounging socks because they're 100% superwash merino. And I didn't really bother putting like a nylon thread in the bottom, which you can do with 100% superwash merino. I've heard that you can hold nylon sewing thread with your yarn and it will make it like a 75-25 kind of sort of, or will mimic it, so to speak. And so yeah, I also knit these on a US size 8. The leg is a little shorter on this pair than this one, just ever so slightly, just like a couple rows, because I wasn't sure I was going to have enough to finish it based on how much I had. Because this, I believe, took 120 grams, give or take, or 110 grams, and then I only had 100 grams skein of this. And then it turned out that the skein was 110 grams, so oops. But yeah, I really enjoyed making these, and now I have 2 pairs of chunky socks for the winter time, and maybe we'll have another snowmageddon here in Texas, where we got an insane amount of snow. So now let's move on to, I guess I could do my half-finished object first before I get to my finished for now, or sewing projects. I mean, I've got a lot of finished objects this time, and not all of them are knitting. I also have sewing, and I like to call it art, maybe. I'll talk about that when I get to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and show my half-finished object just because I can at this point. And I don't have my sock blockers here right now, so I'm just gonna hold it up this time. So this is a half-finished object. I just started these socks a few days ago, maybe like a week ago. That's not a few days ago, but like a week and a half ago, maybe. And this is a new pair of socks that's out of mustache yarn in the Rebel colorway, which is made after Han Solo. This was a part of her Star Wars collection in like May. First, May the 4th. But I actually bought this on D-Stash, so that was really nice because I wanted to get the skein anyways during her sale, and I actually was able to find it on Etsy for about half the price, and so that was really cool. But yeah, it striped up really, really nice, and if you don't know about mustache yarn, she does 2 50-gram skeins that are exactly matching, wound together. I didn't know that until recently because I just started using her yarn. This is not, I'm using 1 50-gram skein for this pair of socks, and I'm just pulling out the stripes until I get back to this. So I have another 50-gram skein of this to use or to de-stash at some point. So yeah, this is my sock, and also the heel, the cuff and heel is in Mandy's Making's Worn Jeans, something like that. Worn in Jeans, something like that. And I thought it matched. It's a little off, but it works. Yeah, that's a half object, and you can see my stitch markers on this side, which is about where I am on the second sock. So I'm about in here somewhere on the second sock. Yeah, that is my half finished object. And I guess, what way should we go now? Let's go crochet, I guess. Let's go crochet. But I've finished for now all of my crochet blankets, which is really cool. It took a long time to do, but how it works with Scrappy blankets. So this is my Scrappy blanket. This is like any length of yarn, anywhere from like a couple grams to maybe 20 to 50. I actually have put a 50-gram skein in here before, but I haven't since. But yep, this is finished for now. It's not, I mean, it's not quite my wingspan, but let's just give you a look at this. So I've used up all my scraps. This is what I mean by finished for now, is I've used up all my scraps, and since I'm going into the school year, I doubt I will have very many scraps, but the point is all of these are caught up on the scraps that I have, which means that as I finish projects during the semester, I can just add them into the blanket when I'm done with the project, as I have time. So anyways, this is where the end of it is. I think last time I was in and around here somewhere. So I got quite a bit done on this blanket. Maybe like 8 inches, close to 10 inches, maybe 8.5 inches. Yeah, this guy is getting pretty long now. This is the longest I've gone on a blanket, so I'm very excited about it because it's actually turned out pretty large. So that's it lengthwise folded in half. So maybe 4 foot, 3 foot, something like that. So anyways, this guy's got a little stitch marker on him holding the loop, and so I will add on to this guy when I got more scraps. But for now, he's done. For now. It doesn't mean that he's totally done and this is where it's ending. It's just I've used all my scraps, and so he's done for now. And colors turned out pretty cool. Really fun. And really big. It's really big and squishy. And for those of you who don't know, for this blanket, I bought some yarn from Hobby Lobby that's like not like a light fingering weight cotton yarn. And so I'm holding that, and it's in a gradient cake. So that's why the yarn seems to change color. It's darker down here than it is up here. Aside from the skeins are probably similar colors. The yarn that I'm holding the scraps I'm holding it with themselves are probably around the same color. But because this color I'm holding it with is darker, it gives this look like it's darker as it goes down. So anyways, I'm still working on those. I'm not actually, I've got a little bit left of those. I may have to go back to Hobby Lobby and get more of this yarn to put into the blanket, or I may pick another skein of cotton yarn. But it makes this blanket cooler than my other ones, as far as temperature. Not as in cooler. I don't know how to explain it without using the word cooler. But yeah, turned out really great. So that's that guy. So I'm basically back to what I was saying. That blanket, I'm holding 2 strands of fingering weight together, and so that's making about a DK. DK for that blanket. And so I'm using a USI or size 9. I don't know what that is in millimeters. Actually, I've got the hook right here. 5mm. And I'm using this Lantern Moon Tunisian crochet hook. I actually got these around my birthday, and I wanted to get back into crochet, and this gives me the option to crochet, but then also Tunisian crochet if I wanted to. If I got the sudden urge to do Tunisian crochet, I would have the hooks for it. But then also have crochet hooks for normal crochet. So, this next blanket is also finished for now. As I said, all of my crochet blankets, Scrappy crochet blankets, are finished for now. Is this guy, which is like, what would you call this? I guess my more muted, well, it looks like it's all red, white, and blue, and green, and black. Doesn't it? It looks all like the same color palette. But these are sock scraps, I promise. So yeah, this guy is finished for now. He's a little shorter than the other one. He's not quite half the size of the other guy, but yeah, this is where this guy is. I believe I was in here somewhere, maybe even down here. I don't really remember. No, I was right here. I was right here at this black stripe here, and then since then I've done this blue down, because this was the 4th of July socks I knit, which I did show, I believe. But this was the scraps from those, and I put those in here. And then that is my September socks, those guys. And then this was another pair of socks that I knit for a gift that I won't show because I don't have. But this guy is also crocheted on a USI size 9. And and I'm holding either gray or I'm holding shades of gray with the scrap. So except for right here in the red, white, and blue part, I held a white yarn. Sorry, white yarn with speckles of red and blue. So that's that guy. He is finished for now as well, that was my goal for the summer, was to crochet all of my scraps into my blankets so that when I got to the semester, I could just knit my projects or crochet my projects, depending, and then just add them to the blanket as I finish them. That was my plan. Let me shimmy these guys around. And so my last crochet blanket, y'all are returning viewers, which thank you so much if you're returning, and if you're new, welcome to my craziness. I've kind of been out of practice. So yeah. So this is the final blanket, which returning viewers may remember is my red, white, and blue, or red, neutral, and blue blanket. And it has gotten bigger. It's again not as big as the others. As far as lengthwise, it's very big, too big, pretty much, widthwise. But I may turn it into a vertical granny stripe blanket where the stripes are like this. That. But this is how big this guy is now, and it's turning out really cool. Like, if you see it from a distance, the colors just fade into each other, and it looks like a faded blanket. It's just really cool looking. And let me just show you. It looks so great in the lighting I have today. But, yeah. It's hard to believe that these are all scraps. Like, if you get a Scrappy blanket where you just, like, theme the colors, it can look like an intentional blanket, even though they're all scraps. Yeah, I really like this guy. He's big and squishy. And this one is a bigger blanket. It uses, I don't remember what he uses. He's more of a worsted weight, or I guess, yeah, worsted or Aran. I hold 3 strands together. I hold a white strand with everything, and then 2 strands of a color in red, white, or blue. So I basically go, well, I started with blue, so it's blue, white, red, white, blue, white, white in between the colors, or a neutral in between the colors, because there are some grays in there as well. And then in this case, it was a multicolored red, white, and blue skein. So I considered that a neutral in this one. Yeah, this guy is finished for now. And for this blanket, I had so many scraps, like so many. So I had to put them in gallon-sized bags, and as you can see, all 3 of them are empty. So I had red, neutral, and blues. Reds, neutrals, and blues in these bags, and they're completely empty, which is great, because it means that as the semester progresses and I finish projects, I can put the scraps in here, or just straight into the blanket. Alrighty, let's see. I guess let's move into sewing finished objects. Lots of finished objects this time. So I am subscribed to Yarnable, and as part of the Yarnable July box, you got these really cool, or I thought they were pretty cool, linen napkins, fabric napkins, and I wasn't so big on them as napkins, but more as fabric. I had been looking to do a little sewing project, and so this, to me, was an excuse to borrow my grandmother's machine and do a sewing project. So I used the other one of these to make DPN Cozies. So that's what these are. And on the inside is just using a pair of old jeans. So I actually made 3 of these. The other one is right. Thought it was on a project, but it is for a future project. So these are my 3 DPN Cozies, and as you can see, the fabric is going in different directions, which didn't really bother me. I'm sure there's some reason why you wouldn't want to do that, but I'm just learning and playing around, so that's fine. So this first one here, this is the first one I did, or that my mom helped me do, because I was like, I'm not going to be able to hold this by myself. I found a video on YouTube, which I will try and link below, and if I forget, just comment and I'll give you a link to whichever one it is. But I also bought these snaps on Amazon. So what you do is you just stick your needles with your project in here, usually a sock or a sleeve. You can also use it for sleeves. And then the project kind of hangs in between the two snaps. Sorry, covering my mouth. The project hangs between these two snaps, and then you just snap it again. And the snaps keep the needles from coming out, because the needles will stick out here and the project will hang here. So the project hangs out, but the needles are stuck inside the... That was a really complicated explanation. Hopefully that makes sense, but I made 3 of these, all using jeans and all using the same color snaps, and then the fabric too. And my mom and I were talking how these two, the squares are kind of more horizontal, and this one's more vertical. So the illusion is that this one is taller than these are, which is really crazy because they're pretty much the exact same size. Yeah, basically the exact same size. And so it's just really funny because from a distance, it makes these guys look shorter than this, or at least they do for me. It's optical illusion. Anyways, that was a great use of that fabric for the Yarnable subscription. So that is my sewing finished objects. They're all 3 same thing. And so now I wanted to do a kind of new section, so to speak, and this will just be finished objects. So for those of you who don't know, I actually do own my own business where I make and sell digital planners and Christian merchandise, so like t-shirts and phone cases. And so I originally worked as a graphic designer for about 6 years before I started college, and just starting as an intern, and then I started doing freelancing, and then when I started my own business, I just started doing graphic design for that. So my kind of thing with my business is I like to present Christianity, ideas in Christianity and in the Bible in a way people don't normally think of. So in a kind of different kind of spin on it that's not like traditional t-shirts that you see online. So I do Christian, and then I also do Texan as well, just a heads up. So there's some stuff in there that's not just Christian, but also Texan and in my digital planners. So the first one I have is a finished object, and it's actually on a t-shirt because this is the sample that I did. I had to adjust the design a little bit, so if you happen to order this, which I'm not saying that y'all have to, the design is adjusted a little bit because the colors ended up being a little weird. Or not weird, but not exactly what I wanted. Let's just put it that way. So this is the shirt, the first shirt, which this is the part of the Since the Beginning collection, which is my personal favorite collection, which is stuff that I would wear. So all of the shirts in this collection have this cream kind of rustic background to them, and then they've got a design in some clean but vintage inspired font. And so that's what this guy is. So this is Saved by a Blood Donor. It's presenting Jesus as a blood donor, which is, which I have seen shirts like this before, but not exactly in this verbiage. And so it's basically because I think about how grateful people are for other people who give them blood donations, and so this is kind of a ode to that, I guess is the right word, or a nod to that in a way. And so this is again in the Since the Beginning collection, which is probably my absolute favorite because it's just really simple designs and presenting the ideas in the Bible in a way that people don't normally think of. So these shirts, I really like these shirts, not just because I sell them, but because I actually really like the shirts themselves. And I was really happy to be able to get these shirts to print on. But these are really soft cotton t-shirts. They got cotton, polyester, and rayon in them. And I was also able to do print and labels finally, which was a task in and of itself. But it's just got my logo in there and then the information. that's for the shirt. And I will try to remember to link this shirt and then the other one that I'm going to show in the description box below. But yeah, let me know what y'all think of this. Sometimes when I make designs, I'm not really sure if people really understand them. Sometimes I wonder if they're too deep, because this is kind of my area where I study, and so sometimes when I make stuff, it may be too deep for it may be more technical, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Some people just may not understand it. I don't. That's always my worry with businesses, is with my business, is making something and then people either don't understand it, don't like it, or what I want to convey with it doesn't come across. Like, that's the hardest thing with designing, is I'm too close with my businesses. I'm sometimes too close to it, and so I can't determine if people will like it, I guess. I don't know. So this is the second one, and this one is part of my Texan version of the Since the Beginning. But it's not Since the Beginning. It's a part of my, I guess, Texas Love collection, and it's in the same style as Since the Beginning. So this is a shirt that's based off of the Visit postcards. I don't know if y'all remember those or y'all have seen those, but it's like a vintagey kind of Visit postcards, or not postcards, but advertisements. So like Las Vegas or whatever. But this one's for Waco, Texas, which is a pretty popular town in Texas now. And so I have the Waco Suspension Bridge. Never say that word right. And then the Alico building is actually in the back, because you can actually see the Alico building from a certain angle from the bridge. That's this little big building in the background is actually the Alico building. And then Many Voices, One Vision is actually the motto of Waco. And so yeah, that's this guy. I really like the colors. Again, all this Since the Beginning and these types of shirts are all in a similar kind of muted, modern yet vintage inspired color palette and fonts, which are kind of take on a rustic as well. So I really like this shirt. I wear this shirt a lot. Believe it or not, I've worn both of these shirts quite a bit, even though they look good. And it's again the same kind of shirt, just in this is the charcoal heather colorway, which is really one of my favorites, because it's black, but it's not quite black. I feel like only yarn people would be able to understand this. It's either that or fashion people, or art driven, or not driven, inclined. That's the word I was looking for. It's black, but it's not quite black. It's got like, it's variegated. Let's just put it that way. It's a variegated dark gray, really dark gray, almost black. Yeah, again, inside printed label. And I was really happy with this guy. No adjustments on him. Yeah, really enjoy that. And so that, I believe, holy moly, is all my finished objects, finally. So that was a lot of finished objects. We are at almost 30 minutes of finished objects and talking and craziness. So, which is great, because I don't have very many works in progress as a result, and then I will also talk about future projects. So, let's talk about the whip that is the corresponding one to this guy, my half object. And this is, again, my, you didn't remember, since it's been so long since I talked about the half finished object, this is the other half to my Rebel Socks by Mustache Yarns. And I guess it's it's Mustache Yarns, I'm pretty sure. So this is the other sock, and as you can see, or may be able to see or notice, I actually don't have this little ball with me, but I wound off some of the skein so that they are really close to matching. Not quite, like one row off, but that's okay. They match up pretty well. So you can see I'm right about there on the sock. Got a ways to go, about maybe halfway through the foot, give or take. So yeah, and I have been knitting on these on US sized 1 DPNs and 9-inch circulars. I use the DPNs for the cuff and heel and the gusset decreases, and then once I get to there, I switch to 9-inch, and then until toe, and then I switch to I switch from 9-inch to 9-inch. I switch from 9-inch to DPNs for the toe. Yeah, that's this guy. I'm not used to talking because I'm way out of practice. Not used to talking because I'm way out of practice. I'm just not used to talking because I haven't done this in a while. So yes, that's my first whip. My second whip is actually a new one, and it's a crochet project, and it is this guy. And this is, I believe it is Chewbacca, is the name of the, I mean, it's obviously, or not obviously, but it's supposed to be Chewbacca. But it's, I don't know what the pattern's name is. It may be like something more creative than just Chewbacca, but let me look at my pattern here. Crinkle, crinkle. Chewbacca, yep, it's just called Chewbacca, and it's by Julieta Lehman. Hopefully that's right. He seems to have a Latin or Hispanic name. Let's not show you the pattern. Well, I won't show you a picture because it's black and white. But the original pattern is made for fingering weight. But I was like, but it was going only to be like 7 inches tall. And she said to make it like furrier or whatever, to use acrylic yarn and then use like a dog undercoat brush. For those of you who own dogs, you know what I'm talking about. Like for golden retrievers and stuff like that, you use a special brush to get the undercoat out. If I remember right, it's been a while since we've had a golden retriever. But this is what I have so far. And what I ended up doing is holding a DK with a mohair. First time to work with mohair. And so this is, Lolo did it in Laugh It Up Fuzzball, which is a really fun name. And it's in her USA DK and Molo. So, yes, I have his head, his body, and one leg. And I'm about to start working on the second leg. But this is one strand, no breaks of yarn, if you wanted to get an idea. So you go all the way down, and then you do the other leg, and then arms, and then I believe he has a bag, which I'm going to make in a bright neon orange, bright neon orange. And so this is, you embroider the face, which is really cool the way that she did it. Everything is symmetrical on a line, and then the line kind of splits off into the two legs. But this allows you to kind of adjust the face and add features to it, and it still be centered on the body, because that was something I was worried about, was the face not being centered, because I had to make some adjustments. I believe this is a pay-for pattern. It's like, I don't actually remember how much it was. But yeah, that's his face. This is for my sister. So she said that he was weird looking without the eyebrows. Eyebrows are not in the original pattern. And it took me a while to get the eyebrows and the fangs even. And even still then, they're about the same size, but this one looks upside down. Kind of, to me. But yeah, but the reason why I wanted to use mohair along with the DK is because, number one, it would be thicker. It would be a bigger, so this is about twice the size of the original. And so it went from 4-ply to a 10-ply. But he's also now fuzzy, without having to damage the yarn by brushing it. So it's really hard to tell, because the lighting I have in here, there you can kind of see his face is fuzzy. So he's a fuzzy Wookiee without damaging the yarn. It's also the most luxury toy I've ever seen in my life. Because it's 100% superwash merino and mohair. Like, it's a I told my sister it's a luxury plushie. This is an heirloom luxury plushie. Don't ruin it. And besides the fact that I'm hand making it. But for amigurumi, I believe this would be classified as that. You want to use a smaller hook than you would for a normal worsted templi. As far as I know, this is a smaller hook. But I am using a G6 hook, which is a 4.25 millimeter hook, which is giving me a nice solid fabric so you can't see the fluff. I call it the fluff, but the polyfill on the inside, which he is stuffed up to that point. And he does kind of stand on his own. He needs another leg, but he does somewhat stand on his own because the feet are actually flattened in a really cool way. So yeah. Oh, here's the tag. And this is USA DK and Molo. This is the Molo tag, which is her mohair. I almost said Surrey silk. It's her mohair silk, which is 72% kid mohair and 28% silk. I don't believe she's still selling this colorway. She may have like one skein of USA DK left over. Last time I checked in her shop. But I should have enough. I have 2 skeins of the DK and then one of these, which is a 50-gram skein. And it comes with a bunch of yards. 460 yards. It's really hard to read it because it's right on the fold. But yeah, I'm holding these double. You can see. It's actually turning out really cool, really fun. And I'm glad I decided to make it bigger and use the mohair to make it fluffy. Then, I mean, it's a Wookiee. It's got to be furry, right? And then whip number 3 is my sweater, which has kind of gone on hold a little bit. Just because I have discovered that I'm not really great at binding off. Which is weird to say, but I'm not the greatest at binding off, and so I did a temporary bind off on this guy because I was out at my grandparents and I didn't want to look up a tutorial on how to bind off differently, so I've got this mess. So I just did a stretchy bind off, which kind of looks great on, but like this, I mean, I guess it's okay. But I went ahead and did a plain knit row just in case I decide to pick it up, start over. But I'm showing you the sweater already. So this is the Nordiska by Caitlin Hunter, or it's the start of it. The last time I showed it to you, I believe I had split for sleeves already. And so what I did is I put the body on hold, which it's back on now because I finished the sleeve while I was still at my grandparents. And so I decided to reattach the yarn on the body and work on that because it was just plain stockinette. And I was not willing to do color work while I was at my grandparents because I wanted to spend time with them and talk to them. So I finished one sleeve and I tried it on the sleeve, and I believe that this is a good length. I'm not totally convinced on it. So I decided to do the weird bind off again, where I did a plain knit row, and then the bind off, so it's easier to pick up, just in case I decide to make it longer. I mean, I'm gonna have to pick up anyways, because I figured I'm gonna have to pick up anyways and redo the bind off, in the very least. So I figured this would work out. Yeah. One sleeve done, as far as I know. Done for now. A lot of finished for now things. So this is the color work chart. It's kind of upside down, I guess. So that's the color work chart. I really like the colors I chose for this. I think it's coming up really nice. I don't know if I held the colors the right way. It looks like I held the gray in the dominant position, but I'm going to do the same thing for the other sleeve. Yeah, I am using Mandy's Makings. Again, this is the other half of the Worn in Jeans. This is Old Farm Truck, which is a really pretty colorway. I really like how this guy turned out. And I'm also using Vanilla, which is just a white. Or, I mean, I guess it's kind of cream, but it's more white to me. which is turning out really nice. And then I'm using Cascade Heritage. Yeah, just Cascade Heritage in color number 5631. That's the tag right there. And I have 2 skeins of that in here, which is probably enough to finish the sweater for me. Sorry. And I am actually knitting the small size for me, which I think will turn out okay because it's supposed to have a lot of positive ease in it. I tried it on and it's probably got maybe half an inch of ease on me as it is, but since it's superwash, it will probably grow and it stretches quite a bit. So that's without blocking and kind of a janky try on. So I am knitting this on, let's see, gotta remember all the stuff I gotta tell you. This is on a US 4. The body is on a US 4, and I believe the color work I did on a 5, and the ribbing is on 4 or 3. I don't remember what I did. This was some time ago, so I don't remember what I did. So that's my Nordiska in this bag. And so that is all for works in progress. So now I will probably just talk about future projects. And in a way, acquisitions, but not really acquisitions. It's more just future projects. So because I'm coming up on the semester, I wanted to kind of plan my projects in advance, so to speak, so that I could just pick out the yarns were already picked out for the month, and I could just whiz through them. So what I did is I took gallon Ziploc baggies, and I labeled them for each of the months left in the year. And then I put yarn for 2 or 3 projects in the bag. And that's what I've got in a little box over there. And so I am almost done with all the projects for August. This was one of them here. And this is the second one, which will be a pair of socks for me. And this is from another Yarnable colorway. This is the Apple Crisp colorway, and it's actually caked up. It's an interesting colorway. It's very soft yarn. You know, Yarnable, it's very soft, and it's showing out on screen a little more vibrant than it actually is in real life, which is interesting. But yeah, this colorway is Yarnable in Apple Crisp, and then the mini, just turning out really blue, is a mini that I have that I don't actually know who it's from, but this is a 75-25, and I thought it would go really well for this pair of socks. So that's the next project in line is this guy, and I've got my DPNs in here already, and that's where the DPN Cozy was. And I have it in a Bags by Awesome Granny, and this is the Texas Wildflower print in the Notions pouch size. So if you were wondering if the Notions pouch is big enough for a pair of socks, it is. And I really enjoy these bags because then I can keep my stitch markers on the little ring here. So that's my first future project, and then my next future project is a part of acquisitions, so to speak. Not really, but kind of sort of. And this is in a bag I won from the Crazy Sock Lady, just on her normal YouTube giveaways. And I also bought this skein of yarn on D-Stash, which is a very dark navy blue. My throat is dry. Which this skein is a very dark navy blue. It's coming up kind of a little different on screen than it is in person. Maybe a little more blue, a little more vibrant. But this skein of yarn exactly matches my winter coat, which is kind of crazy. I saw it and I was like, that looks exactly like my coat, which to me was assigned to not pass it up because I've been wanting to make myself a Musselburgh hat that exactly matched my jacket instead of the one I have, which I normally wear at night in the wintertime. So that's this guy. This is Lavender Loon Yarn Co., which is a new one for me, which is a new company. Which is the cool thing about D-Stash is you can really try out places that you've never tried before, but for hopefully not exactly the same price. Usually it's at a slight discount from buying from the actual shop itself. So this is in her Deep Frost colorway, and this is a 70-20-10 base, which is superwash merino, yak, and nylon. So it turned out to be a very luxury base. I didn't know it was yak until after I bought it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. That's really nice to have yak in the base. And yak makes it softer and warmer than just plain superwash merino. And this is in the Deep Frost colorway. I don't know if I said that. I'm pretty sure I did, but in case I didn't, this is the Deep Frost colorway. And it's really pretty. I can't wait to make a hat out of this. So anyways, I've already got the needles in here that I use for my Musselburgh hats. I use a US size 2 DPNs to start it off with the pinhole cast on. I don't find it too crazy. It's a little fiddly to start out, but yeah, you can eventually get it started. But this is a US size 2. That's what I use for the hat. And yeah, I think that's everything, finally. I thought I didn't have a lot of content this time, and then I remembered that I had all those crochet blankets, and then I decided to add on my art finished objects, and so, yeah. I ended up with a lot of stuff to talk about. I do have one acquisition that I kind of want to talk about, and that is my AirPod case. I know it's kind of out in the woods, but it's my podcast, and I can talk about what I want to. It's kind of a spin on Ruth Loves to Knit, my knitting, and I'll cast on if I want to. It's my podcast, and I'll talk about what I want to. And so this is my AirPod case, my new AirPod case, which these are a caricature I made of my two dogs, and I put their face on the front, and on the back is a couple of paw prints and then my last name. And so I won't show you that side, but it is printed on both sides of the AirPod case, and it does come with a Cavalier, is that what it's called? Clip, so that you can clip it to your bag. And you can also take it off of the clip, which is kind of nice. So I can have it out on my desk, and then when I'm going to class, I can put it in my bag. And yeah, I've been wanting to get an AirPod case, but I'm so glad that the kind of supplier for my business, I guess, so to speak, now is stocking AirPod cases in multiple colors. And so I had to try this guy out. And it's a very nice, high quality case. I've been really happy with that. So those are my two doggies. And this is Trapper's face, and he's a Havanese. And then this is JR for Jack Russell, and he's a Jack Russell Terrier. And this caricature of JR was done quite a while back. Doesn't quite look like this anymore. It's close enough. I know it's JR. And so, yeah, that was when he was a puppy. I made that when he was a puppy. So, yeah, really like that. This is my AirPods Pro case. They also have AirPods. So I may have to try that one as well, using a different design of some sort. So anyways, I'm kind of rambling now, I guess. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully I see y'all again before September, but chances are that's not going to happen just because as school starts ramping up. I have less and less time to knit, which is not much fun stuff for you guys and fun stuff for me to talk about. And so, yeah. But I hope y'all starting school has been not so crazy for you guys, because like high school and under has already started pretty much everywhere as far as I know. In the US, I don't know about across the pond or in other nations. So yeah, thank you guys so incredibly much for watching and for putting up with my craziness. I hope y'all have a great day, and I will see you next time. Okay, take care.